You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. File Integrity Monitoring, or FIM, is designed to detect unauthorized changes to critical files, binaries, and configuration settings. These changes often indicate tampering, malware activity, or insider misuse. By monitoring the integrity of system files, organizations ensure that attackers cannot alter key components without leaving a trace. FIM creates accountability for every modification, enabling administrators to distinguish between authorized updates and suspicious alterations. Hardened organizations use FIM not just for compliance, but as a proactive control that raises early alerts whenever the trustworthiness of a system is at risk. The fundamental building blocks of FIM involve checksums, cryptographic hashes, and digital signatures. A checksum or hash is calculated for each monitored file and stored securely. If the file changes, its hash will differ from the baseline, revealing tampering. Cryptographic hashes such as SHA-256 make collisions highly unlikely, ensuring accuracy. Signed binaries go further by providing proof of authenticity from trusted vendors. Hardened organizations implement these primitives in layered fashion, combining strong hashing with signature validation to protect against both accidental changes and deliberate subversion attempts. Not every file needs monitoring, so defining scope is essential. Priority targets include system binaries such as kernel files, configuration stores like registry keys or configuration databases, key directories where security settings reside, and sensitive data repositories. Monitoring these locations ensures visibility where compromise would have the greatest impact. Hardened organizations avoid spreading monitoring too thin, instead focusing on files whose alteration could undermine system security, regulatory compliance, or business continuity. This targeted approach reduces noise and ensures that alerts carry genuine significance. Tamper-evident logging strengthens FIM by ensuring that alerts themselves cannot be manipulated. Once a file change is detected, the event must be logged immediately and forwarded securely to a central collector. Encryption, digital signing, and transport integrity prevent attackers from modifying or erasing evidence on the compromised host. Hardened organizations forward logs in near real-time to secure, centralized repositories, ensuring detection records remain trustworthy, even if the source system is under attacker control. Baseline generation defines what normal looks like for monitored files. When FIM is first enabled, a snapshot of all monitored files hashes creates the baseline for future comparison. Over time, authorized updates or patches will change files legitimately. Controlled change windows allow administrators to re-baseline after such updates, ensuring the monitoring system doesn't misinterpret legitimate changes as tampering. Hardened organizations schedule baseline captures carefully, documenting change events so that only authorized modifications are incorporated into new baselines. Data loss prevention, or DLP, complements FIM by focusing on the protection of sensitive information. While FIM watches for unauthorized modifications, DLP discovers, classifies, and prevents unauthorized movement of data. Its goal is to stop intellectual property, personal data, or regulated records from leaving the organization in unsafe ways. Hardened organizations deploy DLP to monitor both intentional insider exfiltration and accidental mishandling, embedding controls at endpoints, networks, and cloud services to reduce the risk of damaging leaks. Content inspection is the heart of DLP enforcement. Detection modes include exact match policies that identify known sensitive datasets, regular expressions that find patterns such as credit card numbers, and machine learning classifiers that identify sensitive text or documents based on training data. These approaches vary in precision and false positive rates. Hardened organizations apply inspection selectively, using exact match for high-confidence detections and broader classifiers for discovery phases, ensuring accuracy and scalability in their DLP programs. Placement of DLP controls requires careful thought, Endpoint-based DLP agents monitor activities like copying files to USB drives or printing sensitive documents. Network-based DLP solutions analyze email, web uploads, or cloud synchronization traffic. Each has advantages. Endpoint DLP catches insider behavior, while network DLP covers organizational choke points. Hardened organizations often use both, achieving layered visibility and response. Trade-offs include coverage breadth versus operational overhead, with deployment strategies tailored to business workflows. False positives can erode trust in both FIM and DLP if left unmanaged. Excessive alerts desensitize analysts, who may begin to ignore them. Tuning policies, refining scopes, and applying contextual filters help reduce noise. For DLP, adding role-based or data owner context ensures alerts are meaningful. For FIM, rebaselining during authorized change windows keeps alerts relevant. Hardened organizations treat tuning as a continuous process, recognizing that environments evolve and policies must adapt. Effective incident workflows turn alerts into action. For FIM, this begins with investigating the context of a file change. Was it part of a scheduled patch or an unauthorized edit? If malicious, changes must be reverted or systems rolled back. For DLP, incidents require validation of whether a blocked transfer was malicious or simply a misrouted file. Hardened organizations document workflows so analysts follow consistent steps, ensuring each alert is handled with accountability and timeliness. Integration across systems magnifies the value of FIM and DLP. Alerts forwarded into SIEM platforms can be correlated with endpoint detection and response signals, creating stronger confidence in detections. A suspicious file change identified by FIM may align with abnormal process activity on the same host, while a DLP alert may correlate with unusual login activity. Hardened organizations design their monitoring stack to cross-validate signals, reducing false positives and sharpening focus on genuine threats. A concrete operational step illustrates how to establish trust in FIM. During a known maintenance window, administrators should capture a baseline of system files, verify the resulting hash lists, and protect the baseline store with restricted access controls and its own integrity checks. This ensures that the baseline remains trustworthy and that FIM alerts are meaningful going forward. Hardened organizations institutionalize this practice, ensuring baselines are accurate, secure, and aligned with operational changes before systems move into production. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Enforcement actions and data loss prevention systems define how the organization responds once sensitive data movement is detected. The lightest option is alert only, where incidents are logged and flagged for analyst review. Blocking stops the action entirely, preventing data from leaving the system or network. Quarantine can temporarily hold suspicious data for review, while encryption on transfer allows the data to move but in a controlled, secured form. Hardened organizations apply these actions selectively, using alert-only in pilot stages, progressing to blocking and quarantine as policies mature, and reserving encryption policies for workflows where transfer is legitimate but must be protected. Sensitive data discovery is a prerequisite for effective DLP. This process scans repositories, file shares, cloud storage, and endpoints to identify where regulated or confidential data resides. By locating assets such as personal records, intellectual property, or financial datasets, organizations establish the foundation for classification and control. Discovery helps ensure policies are aligned with actual risk rather than assumptions. Hardened organizations conduct discovery regularly, integrating it into onboarding for new data stores and workflows. Without discovery, DLP lacks the context to prioritize and enforce rules meaningfully. Like any security control, DLP policies follow a life cycle. Policies begin with authoring, where rules are defined for sensitive data types and acceptable use. Testing follows, often in monitor-only mode, to ensure rules work as intended without disrupting business. Phased rollout enables gradual enforcement, starting with limited groups and expanding once confidence builds. Ongoing tuning adjusts rules in response to new data types, user feedback, and false positives. Hardened organizations embed this lifecycle into governance, ensuring policies remain relevant, accurate, and aligned with business objectives over time. Endpoint DLP agents are highly effective but must be managed carefully to minimize disruption. Best practices include focusing on high-risk actions like removable media usage, printing, or file uploads, rather than monitoring every possible action indiscriminately. Agents should operate transparently where possible, prompting users only when violations occur. Performance tuning ensures that agents do not degrade endpoint usability, which otherwise risks user resistance. Hardened organizations balance security and productivity, recognizing that DLP agents must blend into the environment while still enforcing controls robustly. Exfiltration attempts often exploit common user behaviors and tools. Monitoring must therefore extend to uploads through web browsers, copying files to USB drives, using print-to-file functions, and synchronizing data through unauthorized cloud services. These pathways are frequently abused in insider threats or advanced persistent attacks. Hardened organizations design DLP coverage to monitor these vectors systematically, ensuring data cannot quietly leave through overlooked channels. By layering visibility across multiple exfil methods, they close gaps that attackers often exploit. Integration with identity and access context reduces noise and sharpens DLP detections. When alerts include information about the data owner, user role, and device posture, analysts can quickly distinguish legitimate activity from suspicious misuse. For example, a database administrator exporting schema files may be expected, but a contractor attempting the same action is not. Hardened organizations ensure DLP systems tie into identity providers, enriching alerts with contextual metadata. This makes alerts more actionable and reduces false positives that undermine analyst trust. Automated containment strengthens defenses when exfiltration attempts are high confidence. Network blocks can terminate unauthorized transfers, session revocation can cut off compromised accounts, and quarantines can isolate sensitive files. These actions occur in near real time, limiting the damage before attackers succeed. Hardened organizations configure containment carefully, ensuring guardrails exist to prevent unnecessary disruption. Containment automation reduces dependence on manual analyst intervention, allowing security teams to scale more effectively against fast-moving threats. Audit trails and evidence capture are critical for investigations and potential legal proceedings. Every DLP or FIM incident should generate a detailed record of the attempted action, the user involved, the system affected, and the enforcement applied. Evidence such as original file hashes, transmission metadata, and screenshots may be preserved. Hardened organizations design these records to meet both technical and regulatory standards, ensuring investigators can reconstruct incidents fully and compliance requirements are satisfied. Metrics allow organizations to measure the effectiveness of FIM and DLP. Key measures include the number of prevented exfiltration attempts, the false positive rate, and the average time to investigate alerts. Tracking these metrics provides visibility into both program success and areas needing improvement. Hardened organizations report these metrics to leadership regularly, using them to justify investments, refine processes, and align controls with risk tolerance. Without metrics, programs risk being perceived as overhead rather than value-adding. Exception processes acknowledge that not every scenario can be enforced perfectly. Business needs may occasionally require temporary bypasses of DLP or FIM controls. Hardened organizations provide structured workflows for exceptions, including short-lived approvals, compensating controls, and documented expiration dates. These processes maintain flexibility without permanently weakening protections. Governance ensures exceptions remain the exception, not the norm, protecting data, while accommodating legitimate operational needs. Regular policy reviews keep FIM and DLP aligned with changing data landscapes. As businesses adopt new applications, expand into cloud services, or adjust regulatory obligations, policies must adapt. Reviews tied to data classification updates and organizational changes ensure monitoring rules remain relevant and effective. Hardened organizations schedule these reviews consistently, preventing controls from growing stale or mismatched to evolving realities. Ultimately, FIM and DLP are strongest when tied to classification, inventory, and operational playbooks. FIM detects changes, DLP prevents unauthorized movement, and together they provide defense at both the system and data layers. Their effectiveness depends on tuning, context, and integration with broader security platforms. Hardened organizations embed these tools into workflows that detect, validate, and contain, ensuring they operate as active partners in reducing risk. When combined with disciplined governance, they transform monitoring into actionable resilience. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.